Hi everybody. Yes, I'm back. For how long, who knows? I hope I'm back for a long time. Hospitals, hospice, dying at home. Bill's last wishes was to die at home. He didn't want to go to a hospital. He did not want to lay in hospice somewhere. He wanted to be home. My promise to him was that if I could do it, I would, and I will, as long as I know I'm making him comfortable and keeping him safe. So with the love of my children, the love we have for Bill, we were able to make that happen. I'm so proud of us. But it didn't just happen. It happened with a lot of incredible support. Why on earth am I coming here and sharing this with you? Well, we talk a lot about living and how we want to live and the things we want to do in life. Don't often talk about how we want to die. And I think now that I've experienced this myself, I just think it's something that I could share that may help some of you, either to think about when the time comes for yourself or when that time comes for a loved one. We're all going to have to do it. So hopefully I can get through this video. I may cry, I may not. That's the kind of the cool part about not being AI, is you do get the human element of it. We should never ever lose that. There's so much AI now on YouTube, and we're forgetting what the real human pain and sadness, and also the joy and being grateful for so many things that can happen when we lose somebody that we love. Okay, well, I did some videos already, that Bill was diagnosed. I'm not going to go over that again. I'll put that all in a playlist so you can start and then kind of work your way through if you like. Anyway, it became quite apparent in the month of June that Bill was going down rapidly. We had talked and made arrangements for many, many things. And it's like I said, when that little blurb that I put on the community post is the moment that Bill passed away, because we talked so much about everything, our love and how we were going to do this and end of life and all of that. And I thought we'd covered it all. And then the moment he passed away, I had 10 trillion more questions to ask him that I did get to ask him. And I went, wow, I guess it's just never enough when you love somebody. Anyway, Bill wanted to die at home. And my promise to him was, if I could keep him safe and comfortable, I would do it. That promise is not something I could have fulfilled by myself. That promise took my 3 children. I don't think they mind if I say their names, Paul, Jody, Christina, and their partners, to do that. And I am so appreciative that Bill was their stepdad, and they loved him so much that they became my partners in making this happen for Bill. And oh my gosh, I am so grateful for it. We had some laughs. We had many tears. We had so much unknowns of what to expect. I've never been with anybody through a dying process. And it really was about 10 days that Bill couldn't get up anymore, and he couldn't walk, and his body was changing daily. I have to tell you, it gave us great peace to be here with him. And would I do it again? Absolutely, in a heartbeat. There were the last 2-3 nights we're only in a 1-bedroom suite, but I have a big king-size bed, so whoever was staying overnight could share the bed with me. And my son would sleep on an air mattress on the floor, and we brought in a hospital bed. So I'm kind of losing it a little bit here on the sequence. But anyway, for when Bill initially got really, really sick where he couldn't get up, he was in our bed, and I was able to care for him the first 2 or 3 days. It was good. I was able to care for his personal needs, and he, with a lot of help, and it was a lot of help, and I had a lot of help. I was able to get him out of bed. We're able to take him, to the bathroom, and he was adamant about it, that he was going to keep his dignity as long as he could. And so with the help of my kids, we could do that. But then he couldn't move anymore. And so we had to get a hospital bed. And I know a lot of people complain. I'm going to talk about a little bit about our Canadian healthcare system. I'll talk about that in the end, but I'm going to tell you, it's like the day we needed a bed, that's the day we got a bed. I don't know how that happened, but we got a hospital bed. We made this room look like a home. It was sleeping in the living room. We made it home. I moved all the furniture around, so we incorporated Bill's bed. He was laying there but sitting with us. And that was really important. He loved to watch TV, so he had his big TV there, although he wasn't really interested anymore. But he loved Andre Rieu. He loved listening to him. So I was able to put that on YouTube, and he would just listen, and I'd put the headset on, and he would just quietly, just very low music, and have that in the background. So keeping it somewhat normal. There's nothing normal about it, but keeping him, I'm hoping we kept him somehow warm, that he knew he was being loved. The bed came. I don't even know how it all happened. Somebody made a phone call. Home care came, and a palliative care nurse came. And what happened is because we weren't bringing him to palliative care or hospice, a team sits with the doctor, a palliative care doctor. They get all Bill's diagnosis and everything, and they sat down, because he's now going through the dying process. What would he need to keep him comfortable? And if you remember in my other videos, Bill was never in pain because it was a cancer of the bone marrow and the blood. So he was never in pain. He was losing all his white blood cells. He's lost all his platelets. A leukemia is what it ends up being in the end. And so it was all about keeping him calm and comfortable. So the team, not here, but we're at the hospital, sat together on what the medications were supposed to be, what Bill should need, and it was all sent to the pharmacy, like the orders for it. Palliative care nurse came, introduced herself. Now, we had different ones. One gal came 3 times. We had then 2 other ones. They would come, they would be here like for 2 hours. They would prepare syringes. They taught myself and my daughters how to give Bill his injections. All the sites were set up, and so we learned how to do that, and very explicit instructions on where and what, but there was nothing that we had as far as medication that could end Bill's life instantaneously. Everything was in very small amounts and very managed. Oh my gosh, it was incredible, the support we had. The hard part was keeping Bill, wanting to make sure that he was really comfortable. And so, who's ready for bedding on a hospital bed? I went out and bought bedding, and I made sure that we had nice mattress pads for him, and to make it as comfortable and as homey as possible. And it was so much better when he was in the hospital bed, because I was able to raise him up if he wanted to have a little bit of conversation and you know, lift his legs, because moving somebody that's in a hospital bed for a long time or just laying down is really, really important. So that was really good, but his personal needs had to be attended to, and that became very difficult for us. And so home care came, and I actually had 2 home care individuals in the morning at 9:30, 2 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and 2 at 6:30 in the evening. And if I wanted to have 2 individuals come in at midnight, that was also possible, but we were able to manage all of those things in the evenings. So I can't tell you the support that we received from the healthcare here in Canada. But anyway, the last 3 nights, Bill was changing drastically. Every day, every morning, I saw a totally different face and person. And that was the hardest part, because I was losing the physical. I was losing the physical in him. And it was moments like that where I had to hang on to what him and I believe beyond the physical. And so I had really tried to keep that in perspective, but that's hard to do when you that's hard to do when you're going through it. And so because he was in the hospital bed, the last 2 nights I slept in the recliner, pulled the recliner up beside his hospital bed so I could put my hand on his chest or just kind of reach over like that, because I knew that, you know, at any time that could be the last time. But it's hard, but it's still really beautiful. It is, because you don't want to miss that moment. You don't want to miss those moments. You really don't. So this picture here, you saw it on my community post. And I don't know what made my daughter, I think I do know what made her, because like I said, one of the kids was always here with me. And in the last 2 nights, we were taking shifts every 2 hours, giving Bill his medication, because he was really getting antsy and restless. But this picture, it's his last words. And he said, "I'm home. I'm home." But this was on Saturday night at 10:59. And Jody and I were both so excited, because he hadn't really said a whole lot. And he said, "I'm home." So I'm not sure if he realized that he knew that he was home and his wishes were being honored, or was he feeling he was home, that he'd become his soul had become part of the universe, but he hadn't passed yet. So I'm thinking he realized he was home. But I had my hand on his chest, and he took my hand. And so I didn't move. I just stayed there like that until he held it for probably an hour or 2, and I just stayed there. And I can't believe that Jody got a picture of it, because that was the last time that he reached out for me. Sorry guys, but it's human. Anyway, Bill passed away on a Monday at about 5:10. I should have the exact time, but I don't, because it's all fuzzy. I am so grateful for our medical, and I know most of you know I'm in Canada, And I know there's a lot of talk about socialized medicine and all of those things. But I do have to share, I can't imagine what this would have been like for me, my family, and even for Bill, because I would not have been able to give him his last wishes. All the support we got, everything that was provided for us was zero cost. The bed didn't cost anything. The medications, nurses coming to our home, the caregivers coming to our home, nothing. I can't imagine what it would have been like if we would have had to worry about the cost of any of this. Could we afford it? I am so grateful. Our healthcare system is broken. It is. A whole lot more money needs to be infused into it. But I'm telling you right now that what we got as a family that gave us the ability to care for Bill like we did. I have no words but thank you. I'm grateful. I am so grateful. And not just to the support we got here, the hospital. I have to share this with you. So Bill had to go for blood transfusions pretty well weekly. We were really hoping we could get him to every month, but like I say, he lost that battle. Weekly, and about a week after he passed away, I got a phone call, and it was the hospital calling, and I thought, oh, I wonder what this is about. And the nurse, she said, hi, this is Liz from the transfusion department. She said, oh, Mrs. McConnell. She said, we just love Dr. McConnell. He was just so great, and we are so sorry for your loss. He just lightened up the room when he came in. He was always so gracious and so kind. And Bill was a bit of a flirt. And he always made the ladies feel really, really good about themselves. He had that charm. And I love that about him because it's who he was. And I thought, oh, what a nice phone call to get. But then I got exactly the same response from all the staff in the lab at the hospital. And I'm going, oh, sweetheart, you know, people saw you for who you were. And I am so grateful for that. So I'm also grateful for all of you who have supported me through this. And it's not easy, but I'm going to continue sharing some of my journey because I think it's different for everybody. Everybody's going to do this differently. But I had an incredible guy. And so it's really important to me that when I have my really, really sad moments, that I offset it with a wonderful memory or something really good or something really fun. Because I want to celebrate what we had. I want to celebrate what we lived. And I want to celebrate and take all of the gifts that he gave me to make me a better person, to carry that forward. So anyway, thanks for being here. You guys really held me up. And I appreciate each and every one of you so much. And yeah, this is what happens when you watch a channel where there's a human instead of AI. But anyway, I love you guys. I will come back. Things will never be normal. There's a new normal for me now. I'm going to learn how to grow. I'm going to learn how to keep walking the walk. It's like Bill said, we had an incredible journey together. The physical part is over. Our souls will always, like I said, our souls are woven together by thin threads of platinum. I wrote that in my little, I think I'm going to write a poem about it. Don't forget who wrote it, okay? It was me. Yeah, you know, I got to celebrate this guy and every day. And I know my children will too. And so thanks for listening to me. Thanks for being here. I love you guys. And yeah, I'll be back next week. I'm back, and you never know what it's going to be. I've got lots of other things to share as well, but I'm definitely going to share this part of my journey. So thank you. I love you, and remember, there is no future in our past. Very wise words right now. You got to dream and imagine.